Put your hands together, make her very welcome to the stage, the delightful Tracey Birrell.
Good evening, family and friends. Thank you all very much for coming along to support us tonight. My name's Tracey, and I love advice podcasts. Specifically, I love a podcast called Savage Love by Dan Savage, and it's a sex and relationships podcast. And what I've learned from listening to this podcast for a few years is that people will do anything, absolutely anything, to enhance their relationships. Well, anything besides tell their partner what they want or how they feel. They'll ring Dan, who's a complete stranger, and tell him in precise detail exactly what is missing from their relationship and how sad they are that they don't have it. And Dan will then say to them, "Have you said these things to your partner?" The answer is always no. Imagine if we applied this philosophy to our shopping experience. We go to the deli and we really want bratwurst. But we feel uncomfortable saying that. So we say to the person behind the counter, they say, "What would you like?" And you say, "Whatever you think is good." The person behind the counter packs up some feta cheese for you and says, "This feta cheese is really great." You hate feta cheese with a passion. But you take it away because that's what you've been given. And a week later, you're back shopping again. You go to the deli counter and the person sees you and says, "Hey, how was that feta cheese I gave you last week?" And now, of course, you can't say that you hate feta cheese because they've given you feta cheese last week. So you say, "Oh, it was amazing." And they say, "Well, what would you like?" And you go, "Whatever you think is good." And they say, "You're in luck. We've just had a new feta cheese come in. And I think you'll like this one even more than the last one." So off you go with your feta cheese. Gentlemen, if you want your female partner to put on a strap-on dildo and peg you with it, you're going to have to ask. You will very occasionally find a lady who will just offer to do that spontaneously. But I'd suggest that's a rarity. So the lesson is, gentlemen, if you don't ask, you're very unlikely to get the sausage. And fucks to give. Who remembers when we were teenagers and we all had so many fucks to give? It's like they were in infinite supply. Why didn't I get invited to Louise's party? Are these pants too androgynous? What did that guy mean when he said hi? You spend your whole time just throwing fucks around like they're gonna last forever. And then you reach a point in your 20s when you think that perhaps you should start exercising a little more discretion, that maybe they're not infinite, the fucks to give. So you wind it back a bit and don't give out quite so many. And then you have children. And then you realise there are so many things that you could give a fuck about, but if you did, for everything that happens when you have children, your life would be intolerable. So you start exercising discretion and only giving a fuck when it's really important. And then the magical day comes, and for me it was in my mid-40s, and I realised that my children were now teenagers and they were on the right track in life and on the path to success. And I realised that I no longer had a desire to send a fuck on very much at all. I was in no danger of running out anymore. And just about the point where I had no desire to spend any more fucks, my midlife crisis hit. And there are two things I'm proud to say about my midlife crisis. The first one is that it was bang on time. It arrived when I was 47 years old. Thank you. And that is half of 94. 94 is the median age at death of my 4 grandparents, and thus what I'm hoping I can cruise to, even with abusing my body. So there's something to be said for punctuality. That was the first thing that was great about my midlife crisis. The second thing is that I midlife crisised like a champion. Thank you. I can see some other people have also done so. My marriage ended, and I must say I did think that as a fairly average 47-year-old that the dating market would not be kind to me. I was very wrong. Straight women over 40, let me let you in on a little secret. The most searched porn term in Australia is MILF porn. The young men of Australia have been voraciously consuming this stuff. I was swiping so hard I got RSI. And after a long period of dating, I capped off my midlife crisis by becoming engaged to a man 17 years my junior. When my fiancé was in kindergarten, I joined the Air Force. And I recall a time when we'd finished an exercise in the Northern Territory and everybody was waiting. There were Navy, Army and Air Force people all there, and they had to transport us all home, and it takes a while for the logistics of all that to happen. So we were put up in a hotel in Darwin, and this was a double-storey motel type thing, and it was arranged around a big courtyard and had a swimming pool in the middle. An Air Force guy I knew thought it would be a great idea one night to get one of the Navy guys and throw him from the first floor balcony into the swimming pool below. He did actually land in the swimming pool, that part went okay, but the Navy guy was quite drunk at the time, as was the Air Force guy, and the Navy guy had to be dragged out of the swimming pool and resuscitated. The Air Force guy was court-martialed, and at his court-martial, the presiding officer asked him what his defence was. He said, "Sir, he's in the Navy." I thought he'd be able to swim. Quick as a flash, the presiding officer, who was an Army officer, came back and said, "You're in the Air Force. If I'd thrown you off the balcony, would you have been able to fly?" Thank you very much.